Hello, Ken Superstars. This is Professor Don Bush. I've been a professor for about 30 years and a CPA for about that long, and I've got great ways to explain accounting, so you've come to the right place. Well, today is a beautiful day in Colorado. I live up in the foothills of Colorado above Denver, and it's a wonderful day. Gosh, it doesn't get better than this. Here's a picture of the sunset last night, just beautiful. So, hey, today's lesson is about applying break-even analysis, and this is the simplest example. It doesn't get any easier than this. In fact, break-even is pretty easy to begin with. Now, if you want to see other videos, a really great way to do that is to look at my webpage. It's called accountingsuperstars.com. accountingsuperstars.com. I've got all these videos listed out by topic, and they're easy to find. So check out the webpage, accountingsuperstars.com. So let's get started. So very easy here. So here's what's going on. Currently, the Sunset Sailboat Company is selling 40 sailboats, all right, 40 sailboats, and they sell them for $100,000 each. Now, the president has got this idea. He's saying, hey, I've got a great idea, folks. We ought to do this. We could lower our price down to $95,000, and we'll probably sell more sailboats. In fact, if we lower our price down to $95,000, I bet we would sell 45 sailboats. All right, 45 sailboats, that's significantly more. That'd be almost $500,000 more in sales, 5 times, close to 100 grand. So is it a good idea? Now, mathematically, this is a real easy problem, but what I want to do is I want to show you a systematic way of doing it. So that way you can not only solve easy problems like this, but you can solve more complicated problems. And if you learn how to do this, even the complicated problems are easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the screen right about here. There we go, and go down to this really handy chart. And what it is we're going to create an income statement of sorts, but this is a really cool way to do it. It's really powerful, and you can use this to solve so many different issues in business. So here's what it is. Here's our little income statement. It's just sales price per unit, less variable cost per unit. Now, if you do a little subtraction there, you're going to get contribution margin per unit. And then if you subtract the fixed costs, you'll get the net income. So really easy. So what we'll do is we'll take what's going on currently and put it into this chart. So the sales price per unit is $100,000. Where am I getting that? I'm getting it from right up there. So here we go. $100,000. Now the variable costs are $60,000. Where'd I get that? I got it right off the chart. Contribution margin, all you do is subtract. That's all you do. 100,000 minus 60,000 is 40,000. Now this contribution margin per unit, this is a really powerful number. You can really use this. Now fixed costs. Fixed costs are a little different. You want to have fixed costs at the grand total amount. Grand total. You always want them at the grand total amount. Don't ever, ever, ever put them on a per unit basis, because if you do, I'll guarantee you 100% of the time you're going to get the wrong answer. So always have it as the grand total, just like this. Now, since we've got the sales price and the variable costs and all that on a per unit basis, and the fixed costs on a grand total basis, it's kind of like apples and oranges. It doesn't work very well. So the net income, I'm just going to put not applicable for now. We really don't need it. And you'll see why. It's pretty cool. So let's go down to the proposed. Well, here's the president's idea. The president's idea is let's sell the boats for $95,000. And the variable costs will still remain at $60,000 because it's not going to change how much it costs to build a boat. And the contribution margin is simply a subtraction. So the contribution margin is less than before. So now fixed costs, always grand total. Always, always, always. No exceptions ever. I can't think of a single time where you'd want fixed costs on a per unit basis. Now, sometimes your textbook and your homework, your textbook will try to fool you. And what they'll do is they'll put fixed costs on a per unit basis. Don't ever fall for that trick. That's all it is. It's a trick. In fact, I saw it on the CPA exam. They were trying to trick us on the CPA exam. So grand total, 1.5 million. So since we have our sales price and variable costs on a per unit basis, and our fixed costs on a grand total basis, sort of like apples and oranges, they don't go together very well. Well, apples and oranges do go together well. They taste pretty good, but you know what I mean. They don't go together in this problem. So we'll put not applicable. Now, the next thing we're going to do, and it's so easy, guys, is we're going to find percentages here. And these are also key. It's really important. Easy to do. So sales right here, sales price per unit. Sales is always 100%. Just write down 100%. You don't even have to think about it. The variable cost per unit is going to be 60,000 divided by 100,000, or 60 divided by 100, either way. You get 60%. The contribution margin per unit, super easy. You can do it two different ways. They're both easy. 100% minus 60% is 40%. Or what you could do is go 40,000 divided by 100,000. Either way, it all works. There you go. Now, I'm not going to find the percentage for fixed costs because that never does you any good. Ever. Don't bother. Don't ever bother finding the percentage for fixed costs. And net income is not applicable, so we won't do that either. So let's go over here to proposed. Sales price per unit, always 100%. Always. Variable cost per unit, 60,000 divided by 95,000, and we get 63%. Contribution margin per unit, well, two ways to do it. Two ways, easy, both easy. 100% minus 63%, there you go. Or you go 35,000 divided by 95,000. Either way, you're going to get the same answer. And fixed costs are on a grand total amount. You never, ever need to find a percentage for fixed costs. Ever. All right? So this is all there is to it. If you can do this, it's easy. There you go. So here's what we'll do is we'll come down here to the break-even point. All right. So let's do this. Let's adjust this just a little bit. Here we go. So here's the chart that we just completed just a moment ago. There we are. And let's come down to finding the break-even point. Well, finding the break-even points are super easy. Here's all you do. I mean, it could not get more easier than this. So fixed costs, well, the fixed costs are 1.5 million, always in grand total amount. Never, ever on a per unit basis. And what you do is divide it by the contribution margin percentage. So you might say, well, contribution margin percentage, what's that? Well, it's right here, folks. Right here. We just figured it out. There it is, 40%. So take that 40%, drop it right there, and do a little division, and you get 3.75 million. So what does this mean? What does 3.75 million mean? Well, if the company has sales of 3.75 million under current operations, they will just break even. That is, they won't lose money, they won't make money, they're just breaking even. Now, if they sell more than this, than 3.75 million, then they'll start making a profit. If they sell less, they'll have a loss. So it's the point of break even. It's an interesting number to know. Now, under the president's idea, let's find the break even point there. So the fixed costs are 1.5 million, still the same. And the contribution margin percentage is right here. I'm going to highlight it. There it is. Very important number, very powerful number. And we get 37% right there. So we do a little division and we get 4,071,429. So in other words, under the president's idea, to break even, they'd have to sell 4,071,429. And that's more than under the current operation. So that doesn't automatically mean that the president's idea is a bad idea. There's a little bit more to it than that. But it does mean that the president's idea might be a little more risky because they have to sell more just to break even. All right, so let's take it a little step further. Let's see if they are going to make a profit under the president's idea. So coming down here, so what we'll do is we'll do another income statement. And if you notice, it's the exact same format as up above here. Look at this, sales, sales, variable costs, contribution margin, so on and so forth. It's identical, practically. Now, one small difference that we're going to do, and this is okay, rather than having sales price per unit, we'll have total sales. And rather than less variable cost per unit, we'll have less total variable costs, okay? So this was on a per unit basis. This is going to be on a total basis, but it's the same idea. It's really the same thing. That's a cool thing about all this. It's not that hard. Okay, so coming up here to the original information. So here's what's going on. Let's figure out the total sales under the current operations. What's going on currently? So the total sales, well, they plan on selling these boats for $100,000 each, and they plan on selling 40 of them. There you go. So 40 times 100,000, if you get on your calculator and figure it out, it's going to be $4 million. Variable costs, okay, so all you do is take the 60,000 there, 60,000 times 40 boats, you get 2.4 million. And to figure out the contribution margin, all you do is subtract. That's sales minus variable costs is contribution margin. A very important number. Now the fixed costs, they're not changing, still 1.5 million right up above there, 1.5 million. And so net income is going to be 100,000. We can figure out the net income because we have total sales, total variable costs, total contribution margin, and fixed costs are always grand total, always. So net income works here. Let's figure out the president's idea. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so the president is saying, hey, if we sell if we sell our boats at 95,000, we'll probably sell more boats. And the president is saying, I think we'll sell 45 boats. So 95,000 times 45 boats, $4,275,000. So it's like, wow, this is quite a bit more, quite a bit more, 275,000. So if we stopped at this point, we might think, hey, this might be a good idea, but let's carry it all the way through. So the variable costs are going to be 60,000 times 45 boats. We get 2.7 million. And the contribution margin is simply a subtraction. There we go. And fixed costs are 1.5 million. Fixed costs are not changing. 1.5 million. And the net income, well, if we do a little subtraction here, 1.575 million minus 1.5 million, we get 75,000. So look at this here, folks. The net income under the current operations is greater than what the president is thinking. So this is not looking good here, folks. Not looking good at all. So here, let's go find that break-even point so we can put it all together. There we go. Here's the break-even point. So under the president's idea, the break-even point is higher. So that means more risk involved. We have to have a higher sales amount in order to just break even. So that's showing risk. But that's not the whole story. You can't stop at that point. So what we do is we do a little income statement here using this really cool format. Very powerful format. What I would do is I would memorize it. It's not that hard. And so what we did is we filled in the numbers in grand total amounts, and we found out, gosh, the president's idea, our net income will be less. Sales will be more, but net income will be less. And it's net income that we're really after. So I hope this video helped you out, folks. And if it did, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. That way YouTube says, hey, these videos are pretty good, and they'll show these videos to more people. And check out the website, accountingsuperstars.com, folks. I've got all these videos listed out by topic. So until next time, over and out.